Hello again, welcome back to Hangar 51. Today we're going to talk about battery discharging, how to get your batteries down to storage voltage safely. Um, I've come across something that I was just recently uh, made aware of. That's a good way to say it. Made aware of by a good friend of mine who also has a channel here on YouTube. And I'm going to give him a shout out right now. You guys, if you haven't been to the RC Air Marshal, he's got a channel right here on YouTube. Go check him out. Very knowledgeable guy, super great guy. He ran across something similar to this on, I think, Amazon. So it made me think, wow, I've been doing this for 47 years, but not electric that long. I've been doing electric for at least 6, maybe 7 now. And I didn't know that you could get a separate, standalone battery discharger. I know my charger has discharge capability to bring it down to storage voltage, but it takes forever. If you've ever had to discharge a totally charged pack because it started raining at the field and you didn't have time to fly that last battery or two, and you put it on your charger and set it for discharge, or storage charge, it takes hours, and you probably had to go and reset it once or twice because it would time out before it would fully discharge the battery. So it just takes forever. And this little baby here, which is the smaller one that Dave recommended was a bigger one, but was more than twice the money, and I just didn't want to go there. And we'll get more on that in a minute, but this baby here will discharge at 6 amps, a 2200 3-cell in 9 to 11 minutes, which is about my flight time. If you're not wide open the whole flight, I easily get 9 to 11 minutes on my 3-cell planes. So this is discharging it at the same rate the airplane is. So I think that's fantastic. Now, there's a couple of things that I've seen people complain about, and I'm just going to touch on those right away. It only has 2 buttons. There's no screen. There's no balance plug. So how does it balance discharge your battery? It doesn't. Neither does your airplane or your quadcopter or your truck or your boat. Okay? It doesn't balance discharge, it just discharges. And then you put it on your charger to do a balance storage charge. So this is just taking the place on your workbench, on your kitchen table, when it started raining and you didn't get to fly those last few batteries. You just plug this in and forget it. And anywhere, depending on the size of the battery, it may take up to 20-25 minutes if you discharge a 5,000 milliamp 6-cell pack. But again, it's a safe way to discharge it let's just say less than an hour for sure. Whereas the discharge option in your charger probably takes you hours. I know mine does. Hours, and I mean 2 to 3, if not 4 hours. And I have to keep going in it because it times out and I have to keep resetting it so that it'll finish the storage charge. And listen, your charger doesn't storage charge, or I should say balance charge, the entire time it's charging. It hard charges you up to that last 2-3%, maybe 5%, and then it goes into balance mode and does the last, at a much lower amp rate, usually under 1 amp or in the area of 1 amp, it is where it's doing its balancing. So, same thing with the discharge. So this can get you discharged, in a hurry, and then you could do your final, if you really want to be balanced and, storage charge exact, you do the last 5% on your charger, which will do it in a few minutes, not hours. And then you'll have storaged, balanced batteries. But like I said, your plane, your quadcopter, your RC car does not balance discharge. It just discharges. So this just takes the place of that. So that takes care of that. Now the other thing is, doesn't have a meter on it. Everybody said, oh, well, it doesn't, it should have had a meter. Well, again, your airplane doesn't have a meter on it, or your car, or whatever, unless you have telemetry, which I do. So, in my situation, yes, I do have a meter, but 99% of you out there are not using the telemetry that's available to you. Um, and I haven't figured that out why, because once you go telemetry, you'll never go back. Knowing what your batteries are while you're flying, it's not so much a big deal on a surface vehicle. It stops running and then you just go pick it up. If it's a boat, it's a little bit of an issue because now you have to row out and get it or send a retrieval, but you're not going to crash. Quadcopters and airplanes, it's critical that you know what your voltage is. And I fly a Tyrannus. It comes with telemetry. I've had it for over 6 years now. I know what my batteries are. You can set the radio up to talk to you. A lot of people say my radio's obnoxious. Hey, I particularly like listening to it. It doesn't bother me. The one that I think is funny is the airline pilots that say that my radio is obnoxious. When they fly in a cockpit of a 737 or whatever, an Airbus 320, whatever, and the thing is talking to them all the time, telling them that their autopilot's on, it's off, horns are going off, master warnings are going off, all the time, and they're complaining that my radio talks too much. I think that's pretty funny. But anyway, so, okay, it doesn't have a meter on it. Well, listen, you're going to plug your battery. This doesn't require any power. It gets its power from the battery pack you're discharging. Okay? So you're going to plug your battery pack in. Okay? And it doesn't do anything until you touch buttons. And I'm going to get the camera over here. We're going to get a close-up of it. But it doesn't do anything until you touch the buttons. Then you start the discharging, and you set it. It gives you a warning. It starts beeping at you if you've got the voltage set wrong. So, if you've got it set for a 3S and this is a 4S battery, it's not going to do anything. It's going to beep at you saying, hey, there's something wrong. So you have to fix that. And then it allows you to, this particular one, allows you to discharge anywhere from a half an amp to 1 amp intervals up to 6 amps. Okay? And you can pick whatever flavor you want, is how hard you want to discharge it. 6 amps is pretty safe on, anything 3S and up. 1 and 2S, you may want to discharge it a little softer than 6 amps. Okay, and then you set it and it starts to discharge. Well, all you have to do is take your battery checker and plug it in, like you would anyway. Okay? And now you've got your battery voltages and you can watch the thing discharge. That simple, While this is discharging the battery, here's your meter to show you what you're, Yeah, is it an extra step? Yeah, sure it is. But again, you guys don't monitor your batteries unless you have telemetry like I do. Most of you don't. So you're not monitoring your battery as it discharges anyway, so why do you want it on here? And why would they put it on here for the 1% of you that would want it? Because the rest of you, when I put it this way and you think about it, because it's really easy to say, yeah, well, it doesn't have a meter on it, I'd really like to know what my batteries are doing. No, you don't, because you're not even taking advantage of the telemetry that you have offered to you. Now Spectrum has it with these new smart packs. Now they're built-in telemetry in the smart battery, the smart receiver, and the smart power supply. Gives you all that technology, and most of you aren't even taking advantage of it. So why would you expect this for less than $40? So anyway, they thought about that, I'm sure, when they were making this, and they knew that 1% of you are going to want the meter. They're not going to put a meter on it for the less than $40 because they'd have to up the price. So they kept it affordable for all of you out there that want to save money but still discharge your batteries. And for the 1% of you guys that want to see what your batteries are doing, well, just plug your battery checker into it, and there you go. You got what you want, with no additional cost. Why would you want to pay for another meter? Because obviously the price would have to go up. So you'd have to pay for another meter for something you already have. So there was, good marketing. They were smart not to put a meter on it. There's no need to put a meter on it. It's easy to put a meter on it if you want that technology. Like I said, 99% of you guys aren't taking advantage of telemetry anyway, and This is no different than flying your plane. You don't know what the plane's doing when it's flying. You set a timer and you land when the timer goes off. So this does one better. This takes it down to storage voltage and shuts off automatically. And it gives you a couple of beeps at the end there to let you know it's done, and then it shuts up and it just sits there until you come turn it off. So it's a very safe way to discharge your batteries. So let me get it over here and get a close-up, and I'll demonstrate everything for you. Okay guys, so here's what this baby looks like up close. And as you can see across the top here, it says 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S, 6S, 7S, 8S. So it will do up to an 8S battery. I don't own any 8S batteries. I have nothing over a 6, but you know, if you have 8S, it'll work. And then down at the bottom, and there's only 2 buttons, okay? And down at the bottom, it says a ½ amp, and then 1 amp, 2 amp, 3 amp, 4 amp, 5 amp, 6 amp. So that's your discharge rate right there, okay? And you know, it's smooth on all sides. It only has one plug because the battery that you plug in powers the unit. So there's no external power needed. You don't have to plug it into a wall or plug another battery in to power it. It's powered off the battery you're discharging. Okay? And it comes with these 2 little feet. And you can put them on the unit. Now, I don't know why, but most people have been putting the feet on this side. Okay, I guess because they made them so that you could put them on that way, and they put them on that way, which means you want the charger or the discharger to stand up like this. Okay, and now the only way you can see that is you have to be standing over top of it, which means you have to walk up to the table and stand over top of it. And there's lights on the front of it, so I don't understand that, but that's what a lot of people are doing. I put the feet on the bottom because, you know, this is the front, top, bottom, so that it sits on the table this way. So now if I'm sitting in a chair over, you know, and I can see this little green light, I know it's still discharging because the little light's on. And when it stops discharging, the light goes out. So that's what I did. You guys do whatever you want. I'm just saying that, you know, it comes with the little feet. And I put mine on the bottom instead of on the back because I didn't want the charger sitting this way where I couldn't see it unless I stand up and go stand over top of it. So I put the feet on the bottom, not on the back, so it sits this way. You know, it's optional. You put them wherever you want. They come in the box. You put them on wherever you want. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this 4-cell pack in here. Okay. And we're going to set it there, and nothing's happening yet because it's not, you know, it doesn't activate until you push one of the buttons, either one, okay? And just to show you guys what's going on here, I am going to plug in a meter, you know, a screen. Now, this is one of the smart charger, you know, battery checkers, and I'm a big fan of this smart stuff, guys, because of, I'm not a Spectrum guy, but this smart stuff is cool. The batteries, everything is very reasonably priced so far. I give Horizon Hobby a lot of credit. You know, they introduced this stuff. It's all backwards compatible. You know, so any of the old stuff you have, battery-wise or whatever, is compatible with it, and it works with the new stuff, and it's reasonably priced. This checker, I think, was $39, $39.99, I think. I don't pay that much for cheapy checkers, but I've seen checkers in that price range, and this one does so much more than just check batteries. It's a servo tester. It does everything. It's an amazing little smart device that does a lot. So, but we'll save that for another video. We're not going to talk about that right now, but I'm just letting you know that I'm pretty impressed with it. So now we're going to turn this baby on. So we're going to set it to, that's on 2, 3, that's 3S. We're going to set it to 4S, and I'm going to crank it all the way up to 6 amp. And that's all you have to do. It'll self-start. Okay, so you saw the green light come on, and you hear the fan running. Okay, and you can watch the meter here and see it discharging. And it's not going to take very long to discharge this. This is going to happen pretty quick. I'd say less than 2 minutes will be its cutoff. So, and you can see on the smart checker here, they're going in the red, which means they're dropping below what the smart checker wants to see. It should take it down to 30%. I don't think it'll go that far though, but it's going down pretty fast. But I'm doing it at 6 amps too, which is, you know, a lot. For that small battery, it wouldn't be that. So the smart checker went out. It's still on because the lights are on. It's still discharging, by the way. It'll beep when it's done. So yeah, it's still discharging. And yeah, I see that they're going below, but you gotta remember, guys, there's a load on it. You know, it knows that it has to take it below so that when it's resting, they're going to come back up. So it's going to pull them below on purpose. You know, that's how the smart stuff works. You know, this is a very smart discharger. So it's going to discharge it. You know, it's doing a balanced kind of, well, I don't think it's balancing the cells, but it's balancing its load to get it down to what it thinks resting voltage will be after it's done pulling it down where it needs to. You know, obviously it's still not discharging at 6 amps because these are already come back up to 3/8. And you know, so it's pulled its heavy 6 amp discharge back tremendously. It's probably at ½ amp or 1 amp, and that's why the fan went off. And now it's done. You hear it beeping? So it's done. And now the resting voltage on all these came back up to 3.84, 3.85. And like I said, if you want to take it better than that, you can put that last little bit on your battery charger and finish it off with that, because it will balance charge it. I mean, you know, much closer than this. And this is close. I mean, 8.5, 8.5, 8.4, swapping the 8.5 and 8.4. So, you know, I don't know how close you want, but that's close enough to me. That seems to be fine. And I'm just letting it beep to show you that it's going to stop beeping in a minute. It doesn't do that forever. It does it long enough for you to get your attention, and then it just shuts up. So if you happen to leave it, you know, you're not babysitting it, it will shut off. There it goes. See, it just powered itself down. So if I'm sitting in my chair and I look over and see it's powered down, I know that it's done discharging that battery, and I can go over and check it out. So it doesn't get any easier than that, guys. It's pretty simple, and it works fantastic. It's a beautiful little unit. It does a great job. And for those of you that want a meter, there you go. So that's it for that, guys. I hope that was helpful. Okay, there you have it, guys. So that's how this works. Pretty simple. You know, it doesn't get much simpler than this. And for under $40 for this model, or you could go for the Mac Daddy one that Dave Marshall had recommended at around $80, and it gives you a much higher discharge rate. You know, because this is the FD, the FD 100, and his is the FD 200. It's much bigger, but it's more than twice the price, and it's gonna discharge your batteries a lot faster than this one. But you know, I mean, if that's important to you, by all means, you know, it's a great option. I didn't want to spend $80, but I was okay spending less than $40. You know, 30. I think it was 34. It was either $34 or $39. I don't remember, but it was less than $40. I know that, and for that, I'm more than happy with how fast this goes. So, you guys know what to do. Comments at the bottom, please. I love hearing your comments. I don't even care if they're negative. I still want to hear from you. So that's the end of my video, guys. Comments at the bottom. Like me here on YouTube, like me on Facebook, and we'll catch you in the next review. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.